Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and good night. Welcome to my channel. I am Mike Millen, and you're with me at Chillin' with Millen. Right now, I'm watching myself so that I can keep up with the chats. If anybody's in the room, feel free to leave a comment in the chat below. We can get today started. I've got some special stuff coming up for today. But as you can see, it's not the lounge that I'm chilling in today. It's the office, and the reason for that is I needed the laptop because I'm going to try something new today. That's right. I am going to try Google Hangouts. Got a special guest lined up. Hopefully, you guys will enjoy this. But for now, I'll just settle in here, wait for you guys to come. Good morning, Yankee. How are you this morning? Nobody's in the chat room yet, but we'll get started here. How are you this fine Tuesday morning? How do you like the setup? No glare, lighting's okay, audio's coming in. Let me know how I'm doing there. I feel like I can set up. There we go. Not too distracting in the background. Serving from my home. Good morning and welcome to the channel. Hey, welcome to my live stream this morning. Hey, serving from my home. If you are not familiar with Yankees Outdoor Adventure, I would encourage you to hover over those three white buttons beside his name and check out his channel. And especially later on in the show, we'll be inviting him onto my channel live stream, and we'll be able to hang out with Yankee in person and live. Yankees Outdoor Adventures tells me that it's looking good. Hopefully my audio is working all right. I'm not too choppy, and everybody gets to enjoy the show. All right. So a couple other things I have lined up this morning while I wait for a few more people to come in. I take it. I take it. Lacey and Yankee know each other. That's good. Is there anybody that doesn't know Yankees Outdoor Adventures, folks? That's why I'm so honored to have him today in the room, in the house, in my chat, and later on live with me on Google Hangouts. That's going to be awesome, guys. Hopefully I don't mess this up. So yesterday I started something a little bit new. If you guys remember, I was reading some horoscopes. I've completely forgotten each and every one of you's horoscope, but that's okay. I've got it all queued up here and ready to go. We're going to start today a little bit interesting. Today, I'm going to start with my horoscope because I thought it was quite relevant for what was going on. And as you know from yesterday, I am an Aries. So let me just read that one out loud for you guys. Today, October 9, 2018. Listen to this, guys. Kind of exciting. You are about to be on the receiving end of some really wild news, all of it positive. Expect the word to arrive from higher up. You weren't sure you expect the word to arrive from a higher up that you weren't sure had ever noticed you, and to be amazed to discover that you were definitely have not been ignored. Once that news sinks in, you may need to make a decision. A serious, wonderful decision. Prepare yourself for a lovely bolt from the blue. And oh, if it doesn't happen yesterday, which you wish everything would happen, be patient. It's coming. So that's my horoscope for today, guys. And I thought that was pretty exciting. As you know, I'm an Aries. I'm very impatient. I love to hear good news. And hopefully things will work out for me today. I got a couple ideas where that's going to go, but we'll just see what happens. We'll let the stars unfold, and we'll go from there. Anybody else? Yes. Lacey. Yes. Oh, of course I remember your name, Lacey. Of course I do. I have this little notepad here. It's not that I have a terrific memory or anything like that. I've got a notepad. I write things down. That's what I do. That's what happens when you turn 50. You have to learn to rely on existential memory helpers, and a pen and paper, one of those greatest things. Also, I love using my voice notes on my phone. It's always handy, and I can just jot it down. Right. And so that's great. I got Lacey and Yankee in the room right now. That's amazing. The weather outside today is a little bit foggy and misty, so I'm glad I'm not up in the lounge right now. I hate it when I can't see past my own buildings out here. It's just you're in a feel like you're in a cloud, and I'm a little bit lower right now. I can see the mist above me, but yeah, I can see clear out to the CN Tower, but it's very very cloudy, very misty today. What's the weather like in your area? I know Yankee, you're in Ohio, and I didn't write down where Lacey's from. I think it was Indiana, so she might still be in the same time zone as I am. So that's awesome. Um, who else we got? We got Yankee. Yankee is a Pisces. All right, Yankee. You know what? You just prompted me. Let's go to Pisces and see what it says about Pisces. Actually, you know what? Pisces and Aries have a history of really getting along well together as long as they respect each other's boundaries. That's an interesting fact, and it's I'm not making that up. I'm a land sign, and Pisces is a water sign. So let's see what Pisces has to say today. October 9, 2018. The next couple days, you'll be quite literally be wearing your heart on your sleeve, and you'll be ready to tell one and all exactly what you're feeling as soon as you're feeling it. Does this mean you're especially vulnerable at the moment? You bet it does. Better call someone you love and trust and ask them to play bodyguard and babysitter, especially if you're about to venture out into the world. After all, you've done it for them, haven't you? That's a pretty interesting horoscope, Yankee. If you want to reflect on that one a little bit, I got that from www.astrology.com. I trust that website. I think it's kind of interesting. It's hit the nail on the head more than a few times for me. So that's really interesting. Let me read that again for you. For the next couple of days, you'll quite literally be wearing your heart on your sleeve, and you'll be ready to tell one and all exactly what you're feeling as soon as you're feeling it. Does this mean you're especially vulnerable at the moment? You bet it does. Better call someone you love and trust and ask them to play bodyguard and babysitter, especially if you're about to venture out into the world. After all, you've done it for them, haven't you? That's interesting. All right, let me just catch up on my chat here, guys. See what's going on. We got Yankee, got 5 in the room. That's right, Yankee, and I was right. Indiana. Sun isn't up yet out there for serving from my home. Lacey, it's 72 out in Ohio where Yankee is. That's pretty hot. And serving from my home says she's a Sagittarius. Yankee says it's a good week to keep my mouth shut. Well, as long as you got somebody guarding over you, Yankee, I think you'll be fine. And it's true to keep these things in mind, but remember, you got to be true to yourself, my friend. Oh, Yankee needs a bodyguard. All right, I'm glad you guys are hanging out. It doesn't surprise me that you know Yankee, Lacey. Everybody does. As a matter of fact, I got a quick little story to tell you before I attempt something new here. Yankee from Yankee's Outdoor Adventures is the very first person that I ever watched on YouTube live, and the first channel I think that I ever subscribed to whom I didn't know personally. I was watching one of his live shows. I forget what it was. He was outdoors doing something, and I just saw his personality, and I went, man, I want to see, I want to follow this guy. I want to figure this out. And so I subscribed to his channel. I rang his bell. Every time a Yankee video popped up, it came up on my computer screen, and he basically introduced me to this whole live stream and chat situation. And look at me now. Look at where I am right now. He's had a lot of great tips for me, and that's why I am honored today to have Yankee as my guest on Google Hangouts. So if you're ready, Yankee, I'm ready to slide over there. Just give me a few minutes. I'm going to do one quick thing here. I'm going to read Lacey's horoscope for today, and we'll go from there. Lacey is, I just read it, Sagittarius. Oh, that's right. She's the same as my dad. I remember that. So for my dad, who's probably watching right now but not able to chat, hang in there, Dad. I will show you how to do that soon. But for now, I'm just going to read Sagittarius and see what pops up. October 9, 2018. If there's any sign that's famous for consistently being game to experience the last thing on earth anyone else might try, and suddenly too, it's yours. So today's astrological weather will suit you just fine. A message that arrives will set you off on a path that includes not just adventure, but a new and improved intimacy with a partner or friend. And no matter how subtle the invitation is, you'll understand the intent. Bet you're up for it. All right, Sagittarius, sounds like an exciting day for both you and Dad. All right, so let's get on with this. Here we go. Lacey and Yankee in the room. And look at that, Chris's World just popped in. Welcome to my channel, Chris's World. I'm about to invite a guest. We've been preparing something like this for a while, and I believe it, how did I do that before? It was screen share, chat. Okay. Going over here. Ah, there we go. Invite. And put Yankee in there. Ba, 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 ba. And we should be seeing his pretty little face in a few seconds, if I've done this right. Meanwhile, back to the chats. Let me get caught up. We've got Mrs. Chris's World and Chris's World. Well, that's interesting. Sounds like a couple. Chris's World. Okay, let's see. We've got Chris's World. I'm gonna go to your channel real quick. Oh wow, Mrs. Chris's World. I love the and Chris's World. Wow, that's interesting. Sounds like a couple. Chris's World. I love the thumbnail here. I love the other thumbnails in there. Oh, there's Yankee. Hey, how you doing, buddy? Chris's World.
Uh-oh. we got a little feedback.
Yeah, we got a little feedback there. Turn your volume down, buddy.
I am doing good. Uh-oh. Yeah. Whatever you're.
Sounds like Yankees. Sounds like you're having a little bit of trouble with your audio there, Yankee. How many devices do you have open? Maybe if you turn the volume down on a few of them.
Only one.
Okay. Yep, serving from my home is like audio is a little wacky there. Got you both back.
I am muted. The reason we're getting the feedback is because it's hearing your computer.
I see. So do I need to turn from my home? Like audio is a little wacky there.
Wait a minute. I gotta go back and do.
I am muted. There we go. Wait, no, wait up. Hold up there, Yankee. You just turn your speaker off there. Can't hear you. Nope, can't hear you, buddy. Your microphone's off.
But I'm still getting the feedback. You're going to have to kill the volume on the one you're watching.
Okay, I've killed the volume on both my devices. I can kill the volume on that one. All right, how's that? How's that, Yankee? Can you give me a sound check there?
I think I got it. As long as I'm not hearing myself on your end, we're okay. That's what's causing the feedback.
Oh, sorry. Huh. Give me a sound check there. I think I got it.
As long as I'm not hearing myself. All right, let me do that, but then I can't hear you.
Well, Server with Home says at least we can still see your pretty face, Yankee.
As long as I'm not hearing myself. All right, let me do that, but then I can't hear you. Yeah, see, I have to be.
Server with Home says at least we can still see your pretty face, Yankee.
I have to be able to hear you. You see, wherever that volume is coming from on the loop, I'm hearing myself 30 seconds behind. That volume's got to be cut off.
All right. Well, I can't seem to.
Wherever that volume is coming from.
Yeah, I'm hearing it now too in the loop. That's right.
30 seconds behind. That volume's got to be cut off.
All right. Well, I can't seem to. I'm sure it's not coming from either of these devices because I don't have either of them. I've got both of those muted. Yeah, and this one isn't even on the YouTube channel. It's doing the horoscope thing. My computer, I have to be able to hear you, so I've got him turned down a little bit. How's the audio out there, guys? Serving from my home, Lacey and Chris's World. How's any suggestions from you guys out there on what we can do to stop that feedback for Yankee?
I got it. We fixed it. It was my bad. It's 6:30 in the morning, man. Cut me some slack.
Oh yeah, well there you go. You're there. You're good to go. All right, that's awesome. So it's 6:30. Actually, Yankee, I wanted you to start out this morning with what do you got planned for today? I know you do a live show. Let's hear about that.
I'm doing a live show. This is the month of October. I'm doing kind of a blitz of live shows this month. And this particular week, I'm taking everybody to some haunted locations. We have a lot of them in the area. It's kind of a popular thing around here. So today, I'm taking you guys to the haunted Wood County Infirmary. It's got a lot of history. And the reason it's got the haunted legend, comes from a lot of its personal history. It was a poorhouse for a long time. It was an infirmary for a lot of hardcore diseases at one time. It's been in operation since the early 1800s. So you can imagine some of the procedures and things that took place there for people with hardcore diseases, and how many people probably died in the care back in those days. There's a large cemetery on the property, and there's hundreds of people buried in this cemetery that aren't even known. They're not marked. We know that they're buried there because of excavation that they have done, but they don't. The records of who was buried there were lost many years ago in a fire, and they have just no idea. There's these little markers with numbers on them telling us that there's somebody there, but we don't know who it is. So, all this works together for the haunted myths that come out of the place.
That sounds like the perfect storm for a haunted mystery tour. Absolutely. We've got several areas down here just like that. And everybody has their haunted house stories, and everybody has their favorite places to go for their Halloween haunts. There's a dirt road out behind my parents' place, and it actually has a pet cemetery on it. Believe it or not, it's an actual pet cemetery. You can bring your pets in to lay your deceased pets to rest, and everybody loves to go down that road because of the Stephen King Pet Cemetery story. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that. And I actually did a little bit of footage yesterday myself on that same stream. There was a really nice vintage store that we were driving by on the way home from the family gathering on Thanksgiving. And parked out front of the vintage store was a 1962 hearse, nice and shiny black, and it had the skull in the back window, and the interior was fairly nice. But I talked to the guy. I said, "Hey, do you mind if I shoot some short video clips around this hearse?" So I've got a little bit of stuff going on there with that. So that's going to be kind of exciting. Let me just catch up on the chat there. I was so engaged in listening to your story there, Yankee, that I stop following the chat down here. So I'm going to catch up on that. We got Chris's World in here. We got Mrs. Chris's World. Both of those channels look amazing. The thumbnails are just so bright and vibrant. I don't know if you're familiar with those two channels, Yankee, but if not, I guess we'll both be encouraged to go over and check them out, see what their content is.
I'm making sure I am right now is what I'm doing.
All right. Oh, that sounds good. Man, this actually worked out without a hitch there, buddy. It's 6:30 in the morning, and we're chatting live with Yankee at Yankee's Outdoor Adventures. I encourage everybody that's in the room right now to tweet this out because, man, it's a first for me. I'm super excited. But yeah, get your Twitter accounts, get your Instagrams going. Heck, even throw it up on Facebook would be awesome. Yankee is chilling with Millen. That's awesome. I like the sounds of that, Yankee. We should make this a regular thing.
It sounds good, don't it?
Yeah, maybe on one of my traveling adventures, I'll head down to Ohio too. We can do this live and in person. That would be a lot of fun.
Awesome. That would be really awesome.
Yeah.
Open a door here, you lawyer. In here.
All right, so actually, here we go. Chris's World. If you're still in the room, just pop me a chat down there and let me know what your horoscope sign is today, because that's one thing I'll do intermittently in between our little chats is read out your horoscope. We've already read out the horoscope for Aries, Sagittarius, and Pisces. But if you let me know what your horoscope is, I'll be glad to read that up. I've got it queued up here on my little surface, and we can read that. I'm a little. I was so excited to have Yankee in the room this morning. I forgot to prepare some content, but I figured, you know what? Horoscopes is always a good go-to.
Oh, that's a good go-to. Some science tech I can throw in there just off the top of my head. Voyager 2 is nearing the end of our solar system. Our Voyager 1 had already ventured beyond further than we ever thought. Voyager 2 is about to venture beyond that point. There's a little science. Did you know that on Voyager 1 and on Voyager 2, traveling throughout space carries a particular song on each of them? Do you know what the song is?
Oh, I would have to guess it's Major Tom.
It's Johnny Be Good from Chuck Berry.
Johnny Be Good. Oh my goodness. We're broadcasting.
Johnny Be Good is traveling through space right now, well further than any man will ever reach himself. And Johnny Be Good's out there. Chuck Berry's out there singing.
Wow. Well, hopefully some intelligent life that comes across that will appreciate our 1950s rock and roll. Eh?
We also put on a diagram of how we would think somebody would read a map to finding the planet Earth. We also put diagrams in these of what a human looks like, our mobility. Yep. It shows our mobility chart, you know. Yeah, there's a few different things we did in hopes that it would land in somebody's backyard somewhere.
And I hope those people that it does land in are just as benevolent as we are, because we pretty much give them a map to get here and what our weaknesses are. So let's hope they're friendly.
If we find life on another planet, if they are smarter than us, they're not going to want to mess with us. And if they're dumber than us, God help them, because we're going to ruin them.
I agree, Yankee. I agree. Well, here's another interesting nugget. I have this prepared for my Australian audience today. I went over to a human interest story, and apparently a once-in-a-lifetime discovery was made in a gold mine in last weekend at RNC Minerals. Believe it or not, they found one of the world's largest size gold nuggets in these mines. Biggest one in the world. It's top in the charts, world record wise. And how much do you think that weighed?
I have no idea. The largest. I know we found a really large nugget once before. I don't know. I'd say several pounds. I would think it would be very heavy.
Oh, it was very heavy. As a matter of fact, it was 90 kilograms. And for you Americans, that's a little bit over 200 pounds. So that's 2,300 ounces of gold in one nugget.
Stealing your gold. You did it right on the front porch. Nobody will take it.
Exactly. Well, it says, I'm reading the story about it, and this 1,600 ounce nugget is valued at $2.7 million. And there was more where that came from. There was another smaller one that was 60 kilograms. That would have topped the charts as well. So these two huge gold nuggets down there. 3 miners are accredited to finding it. And they were down there. They washed off this quartz area in the mine and called it quits for the day. The next morning they go down, they turn on the light, and they went, wow, this is huge. And they got so excited that the 3 of them lifted it themselves into the lorry to bring it up instead of bringing in the equipment to pull it out. And I can imagine their adrenaline rush when they saw that gold nugget. They lifted it themselves and got it in the lorry and pushed it out the mine all by themselves. They said it was a human feat of strength that they couldn't believe, because that normally they would hook something like that up to some equipment, bring it up for processing. So I thought that was a pretty interesting Australian piece of news.
I would have just been trying to chisel a piece off of it.
Yeah, and stick it in my pocket. Absolutely. I agree with you there. But yeah, that was kind of neat.
We lost a serving from my home. I had to take the kids to school, so she said goodbye.
All right. Well, thanks for stopping by there, Lacey. Glad you did that, and hope you have a great day. Say hi to your kids and give them a good send off for school. That's really important. Yeah, she also says she likes watching people on Google Hangouts. I guess it is kind of an interesting show. I like the fact that we have some banter back and forth. That really brings something different to the channel. I like this Google Hangouts thing. I think I'm going to try this.
It'll make it go faster too. Your time will actually go by a lot quicker when you got somebody you're interacting with, opposed to just talking to the camera.
Yep, I agree with that.
We had an interesting one take place. It was on our local news right up in Michigan here. A guy for over 20 years, they kicked around this big giant doorstop, this big rock they had as a doorstop. And they've kicked it around their house for 20 years. They just found out that this was actually not a rock, but a meteor.
Oh, wow.
And it was worth over 10 grand. And they've been kicking it around their house, and it was worth over 10 grand. The science community already put a bid in and purchase it from the owner. But yeah, that was kind of amazing to have just laying around, you know.
Isn't that funny? You know, and it's something like you said, 20 years kicking around your house, you wouldn't even think twice of it. You know, I wonder
Yep.
how it got discovered. Whether a visitor came over
They
and said,
told
"Hey,
the
that's
story. It
amazing."
came from the property. It was I think his father originally was the one who found it and used it as a doorstop, you know, and then it was just forever something that was there, you know.
Yeah, probably thought, "Oh, there's an interesting hunk of rock. I'm going to use this as a doorstop." That's not something I would do, Yankee. I was up north, and I was up north as a child one time, and I must have been what 8 or 9 years old, and we went way up north for us. That's probably up by Sudbury or Sault Ste. Marie, which is it's about an 8-hour drive. And we used to drive around in this old '57 Chevy with a camper pulling around the back, and we'd go to all these different provincial parks. And as a kid, you're running around and exploring and stuff like that. Well, I grew up in the beach area, so there wasn't a lot of rocks and there wasn't a lot of gravel. But once you get up into that territory of Canada, there's just shale rock and stuff all over the place, and quartz and shiny rocks, and it's really neat, interesting stuff. So my parents, they said to me, we're getting ready to go. We're going home. And they said, okay, you guys, I had a huge pile of rocks that I'd saved up and I was planning on taking them with me. But, we're talking about, 200 or 300 rocks. And my mom and dad said, well, you can keep one rock, one rock you can keep. And bear in mind, I was 8 years old when he told me this. So what do? I go digging through the pile for my favorite rock. And it wasn't anything that special. It was a piece of shale, but the shape of the rock was a perfect trapezoid. Okay, so it's like a rectangle on an angle. It had the parallel slants here and the parallel slants there. And he said that's the one rock you can take home. And when I lifted it up, I could barely lift it and set it in the back of the '57 Chevy. It literally sat on the floor mat the whole and you know how big a '57 Chevy is, right? It sat on the back of the floor mat and it took up the entire space there. And my feet rested perfectly on top of that. Now, I remember I was 8 or 9. So this is going back 30, 40, 50 years, well, almost 50 years. I was doing some gardening for my mom the other day, this summer. And I'm like digging out some weeds and all that kind of stuff. And what do I find right in the middle of that garden but that trapezoid rock that we So it's been sitting in my mom's garden for these last 40 years. I said, you know what? I think I'm going to carve my name on that. That's going to be my tombstone for my final resting place. Big old huge rock that we pulled out from Sault Ste. Marie. Couldn't believe she still kept it.
Oh, well, what was
funny how we do that. I wish it would have been a meteor. Who knows? It might have been some kind of hieroglyphic by the way it was shaped. I just thought it was interesting. The whole perfect geometrical shape is what got me as a kid. I'm throwing away quartz and probably gold nuggets and all the whole nine, but I'm keeping this gray slab of rock just because it had a funny shape.
So many people, when they look at things, and as soon as they see even sides or straight lines, they right away they want to assume that that's somehow man-made. But nature has any shape or any design you can think of, even if it is man-made. Nature's got the same ability to create that design as you do.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I mean, because you're no less nature than it is, and you can create that design. So think about that a minute.
Yeah, I totally agree. I've even seen it, as a matter of fact, walking up and down the beach in pebbles. I actually came across a perfectly round pebble one time. Now, where does that come from? I mean, you could put a quarter on top of it, and it was exactly the same size. I thought it might be something left over from a drilling mine or something like that was drilled out perfectly round, but it was just too small. There was never there's no core samples that are smaller than a $2 bill. Those $2 coins. So it was a tiny little round circle, perfectly flat, even on both sides, and 100% round. And
When you
I'm
look
sure
at
that came from nature.
mesas, to look at it on a bigger scale, look at a mesa, look at, and how often people want to claim that to be cut because they're so perfect and flat on the top,
Yeah.
but it is a natural, a natural occurrence.
Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of our speculation with Mars, when you look at the pictures of Mars, we see these shapes and we want to right away, call them a man-made shape, but in all actuality, well, first of all, I'd have to say any shape is able to be designed by nature. Second of all, when we see faces in things, that's a total different thing. That's our brain. Our brains are programmed to
To
see faces. That is how
recognize
we
faces. Yep.
recognize each other. From the time we were born to the time we die, we recognize faces. That's what we do. So to see a face in a cloud, in a mountain, in a rock, that's normal human behavior. That's exactly what that is. That is your brain being you, seeing a face, because that's what we do.
Yeah, I've seen some funny YouTube mimes about little children, toddlers, barely old enough to speak, walking up to an upside down paint bucket or a mop bucket with two eyes uh, painted on it and giving it a big hug, because they recognize it as a face. And
Face.
you're absolutely right. That's human nature. We're programmed to do that. Recognize our parents' face, and then we go on from there. And if you change something
Look at
about your face,
look at how similar, honestly, how similar humans look. When you look at it, try to step outside of our species and look at us as a whole. We look really similar. Our brains do some pretty amazing things to quickly determine who is who. I know this guy. I don't know
yeah,
that guy.
yeah,
Really, it is actually an amazing feat that we go through, that we do, every day, and we do this without thinking about it. We don't have to focus on doing it. We just do it.
yeah, we just do it. And it's funny. My dad had a beard for the longest time, and I have to do a double take every time he shaves his beard off. Oh, and then you recognize something else. You recognize that eye glint, or the shape of his nose or something. But yeah, without the beard, you're like, oh, he's a new person. But yeah, I've done that with my granddaughter too, where I'll put on my glasses, and she totally recognizes me with the glasses, but I'll take them off, and she's like, "Who are you?" A little bit of change, but then something else kicks in. The whole thing, the whole spectrum of your face, something else she recognizes. Yeah, really, really interesting stuff there, Yankee. Who knows where your chats are gonna go, right? What's the point? What's the point of laying out a bunch of content when next thing you know, you're talking about moons from space and different faces? I love it. I absolutely love
That's
it.
the way these do go, though, and when you begin to get a bigger audience, your audience really begins to curve your live streaming also. Because as you talk, you're going to want to try to stay with what they're finding most interesting
Yeah.
and whatnot as well. So, yeah, usually when it's always good to try to have some type of platform, so that way you can kind of schedule yourself through your live stream. But I have just hit live without anything at all other than, all right, I'm gonna go live now, boom, and then let's see where it goes.
That's kind of what I plan on doing in the future too. Not got another visitor here. Say hi to Yankee. That's what I plan on doing in the future too. I don't think there's anybody else in the chat room, but they're free to listen to what I have planned for the future for my channel. And I think I'm really being called towards a traveling vlogging channel type thing. Christina and I do a lot of birding, and we go to different areas to do that sort of stuff. And I would love to just go live. Like yesterday afternoon, I was waiting for a restaurant reservation. They told me it was going to be a 45-minute wait, and it was right there by the harbor front. Sitting in the harbor front was a pair of loons, and I went, you know what? This is a great time to go live. Whenever I see a loon, that's a magical time for me. That's my totem. So whenever I see a loon, I just think, you know what, something's going to happen. And sure enough, I go live, and I had 5 people in the room. You know, it was a 30-minute blurb about, you know, sitting by the harbor front. I had no content. I just picked up the phone, went live, set it on the tripod, and just sat on the picnic table and talked about the loon behind me. So and I plan on doing that a lot. I never did any, never thought about any videos or making any content while we were traveling. But we've been to my wife and I have been to some awesome places, and I really want to share that with the world. So I think that's where my channel's going. So I got to get used to doing that. Just going live.
Awesome. I think the content does come to you as you go, and you don't really know. There's been so many. Here's why I don't bother. I mean, I try to make some PowerPoints for every live show. You know, like I got some, and not necessarily even written down. That's just like for my show today. I have some mental PowerPoints that if I get into a slow spot, I will call on those things to give me some type of topic or something. But really, these live shows, there's been so many times I've just hit live without even having that. Just wing it. And a lot of times those are your best shows. So, there's nothing wrong with doing it like that.
I got no problem with that. Like I said, my backup today was just going to be the horoscopes, depending on who came in the room. And a lot of times the horoscopes are fascinating enough to lead on to something new and stuff like that. And it's like you said, just a PowerPoint, something to go to when things get slow. But I think with the two of us on a live show, Yankee, the way we have the gift of gab, I don't think we'll ever run into that problem.
That's it. And between the both of us, you can tell we have a wide variety of interests. So
yeah.
It's like it doesn't take much to talk about one thing, and the other one has something to add already.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll be able to tell stories for sure. Looking forward to doing this a lot in the future, and maybe we'll talk about that co-host thing that you mentioned too. I'd love to jump into your stream as well, and apparently I'm supposed to be babysitting you for the next few days.
Just don't let me talk to anybody. Just tell me to shut up. I'll be okay. That's what it was telling me. It was telling me I better not talk much.
And that's funny. I didn't make it up either. I was like, oh man, Yankee's gonna look at this and he's not gonna say a word in my live stream. I better find a different horoscope. But I didn't even know what your sign was there, buddy. just came up. But yeah, it was exciting.
This week.
I tell you, I get up about 5:30 and I'm just barely ready for the live, and I got it all set up. This morning I was like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. 5 o'clock this morning, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna have Yankee in my live stream. I better get ready. I better have all the technical stuff set up. I better do what he told me. Take the glare off the background." And oh man, I was just running around like a madman this morning. I'm probably gonna be all petered out by noon today. My boss is gonna look at me and say, "What happened to you?"
I'm thinking the same thing. I was still up at after 1 a.m. last night, and I got up at 5 this morning to get ready for the live show, and then I got my big live show later on this afternoon at noon. So yeah, I'm gonna be pretty wore out today myself, I think, but it's worth it. It's all good.
Oh, it's all fun. Yep, it's all fun. Well, we got nobody else in the chat room this morning. What do you say, Yankee? Should I call it at 6:51 or should I hang out till 7?
Well, that's your call. We have 5 in the room right now again, I think.
We're back up to 5. Okay. Well, I didn't notice that. I was checking my chats here, and no recent activity. I know that one of the people in the room is mine, so that's my device.
One is me.
And I think another one would be my parents, and they're unable to chat. So I think they're watching. Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad. This is Yankee.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
I think Dad's actually said he's gone over to your channel and watched a couple times. So I know you're the type of character that he would definitely get along with. But I'm going down this weekend. I'm going to show my parents how to set it up on their devices, because right now they're watching it on their TV. and they don't have the ability to chat with that. But I'm going to show Mom how to set it up on one of her devices so she can talk to us. But yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, it does say 5 watching right now. Wow, that's well, I think I've counted for it, haven't I? 1, 2. That one would be you. 3. 1, 2.
4, 5.
Yeah,
Mom and Dad
we're
on
around there. Anyways, if you're watching, leave a chat, and we'll give you a shout out. We'll say hello. Anybody watching that has the ability to do so, leave us a comment in the chat room.
It's a early show. When I was talking about it in the chat room last night, as soon as I said what time, it was like everybody gave the arg.
Yeah, well, you know, honestly, Yankee, I thought about it a lot before I went for the 605, and I think I touched on the reasoning for this. I wanted it to be consistent, okay? And I looked at my day. My schedule of my day is so inconsistent, except for this one period of time where I sit down in the morning, reflect on what I'm going to do, and that's usually between 6 and 7 every single morning. Sometimes I'm just waking up and getting ready, but I know that consistently I'm up before my wife. I have this little hour to myself before I go to work, and it's consistent every day. So that's the one thing I wanted to nail was consistency with a regular live show. I don't care how inconsistent I am with the rest of them. Like my fly by night spur of the moment going live, that can happen at any time. But I want to have one show that where people can come and get to know me and hang out. So that's why I chose the 605. And plus 605 or 6 o'clock my time internationally could be anything. You know, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
There's a lot of people up and around on YouTube right now. Don't think for a minute there aren't. So I mean, you know, if you stay consistent with this time and slowly spread yourself around, let people know you're out there, you'll get a room in here at this time of day.
Oh yeah, I'm not too concerned about that. I'm pretty sure. I'm confident. I mean, I've had up to one time about a month ago, I had up to 14 people in this room. And
awesome.
Yeah, so that I was pretty excited about that. Most of them were from Netherlands and Australia, but hey, that works for me. I made some new friends.
Yeah, yeah. And that's just it. There's people all over the place here on YouTube. I mean, they're from all over. They're from all around. It's you know, there's no way to determine where you're going to get your crowd from. So, and they're just as valuable viewers as anyone here in the States or in Canada or anywhere else. So, you know,
absolutely. And
it's great to be able to give them the opportunity.
They're probably a little more on the ball too, because it's not so early in the morning for them.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well,
hey,
you know what?
You're doing pretty good.
I'm going to give it
we're full of energy and stuff here for it being so early in the morning. So,
well, I think you and I both are the early bird type. I can see that now. Like you said, you were up till 1 o'clock. I was pretty much hammering things out till about 12:30 last night before I finally decided to call it. You know, it's funny. That looks random to you, right? It just looks like, this he just turned on the camera and went. But no, there's a lot of work into, there's a little bit of shine on that. There's a little bit, there's a little bit too much white balance over there. And I'm like, and my wife's ticked because that's her office. That's her area. You know, I'm obviously facing my workstation, and it's usually a mess. She says, "What are you doing messing with my workstation?" But no, she was a good sport about it. She knew I was gonna. She knows how meticulous I am about everything, and she was like, "Oh yeah, it looks good. It looks good. I like it. But you know, the little glare, moving the light over here, moving this, moving the little ship there, so it's in the background. Something interesting. That took me, hours to figure out. Hours.
It looks good though. It looks neat. It's not too busy. It looks good. There's no heavy glares coming off of anything.
Yep. I'd love to get some proper lighting though. That's my next step is proper lighting, because I think my face is orange. And just a little tip for you, I think you need a little bit of light on too, because you come out of the shadows every once in a while.
if I can give you a better brightness, but but there's lag when I go to the other camera.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, it's right here. I can go here. I can go here. Let me actually. Where is that? Right there. And then I can go to this one. You got a better brightness. Maybe not. It's just kind of, it's dark and there's no sun up yet. And
oh yeah, that's why, your consistency on your channel is you're outdoors. I mean, you're just standing there. I can literally, well, you've actually shown it a couple times. You're just standing there with your iPhone and on a tripod, right?
Yeah.
And you're dependent on the natural light.
This right here is the laptop I'm using right now. This camera, the camera I'm on right now, although it's kind of like a little hazy or a little darker, has better movement. It's a 4K camera.
Yeah.
And when I go to just the camera that's built into the laptop, if I were to wave my hand, it does all this jumping stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's choppy. Yep. I understand. Yep. So yeah, the 4K camera that I'm looking at right now, I can tell it's a good camera. Just a little bit of light. That's all you need. And it'll pick up on really low light too. So if you can throw a light out there or even a lamp. The problem with using tungsten lighting is you're gonna have this orange glow on your face. So get yourself a cheap studio light and you're good to go. Even for something like this, really close to the camera, they've got these tiny little ring lights. It's a fluorescent light, and you put it around the lens of your camera, whatever camera you use, and that gives you more than enough to give your face a nice even glow, and everybody can see the features on your face really well. It's just a cheap little ring light, and that's probably going to be my next purchase down the road as well. Yeah, that's actually that. You know what? That brings it up a few, right there. Just a little bit of light right there.
This is
I love it. I love it. We're just big kids at heart, I tell you. We are just, the boys and their toys having to play around. All right. But with that, Yankee, I am going to leave it and call it because it is 7 o'clock. I got to get ready for work. You're the only one in the room right now, but if anybody watches on the rewatch, everybody knows my question is, where will you chill next? So have a good day, Yankee. Good luck with your show later on today at 12 o'clock. I'll be sure to pop in and watch you. Thanks for coming out, buddy.
Appreciate being here, man. Till our trails meet again. I hope all your adventures are awesome. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect then, all right? And,
all right, sounds good.
And I'll talk to you later on, man. Thank you for having me on here, and we will definitely do it again.
All right, sounds good.
All right.